Good to see so many of you back. It's really nice. There's quite a few of you I recognise the names. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the 4th meeting of the Sir David Amess Children's Parliament, sponsored by Wakelet, Microsoft 365, The Express and the Week Junior. I'd like to thank you all, particularly in the school holidays, for coming and joining us for our debate today. And I'm sure we've got lots of exciting things to hear. But please remember this Children's Parliament meets in memory of Sir David Amess. He was our MP where we are now in Leigh-on-Sea, near Southend. He was the MP for Southend West. And very luckily, very fortunately, we have Mrs. Anna Firth, MP, who is now the MP for Southend West, who's going to do us the honour of introducing today's Parliament. Anna, can I just...
Well, welcome everybody. It's an enormous honour for me to be here for the 4th sitting of the Sir David Amess Children's Parliament. This is an incredibly important project. It's one which is at the heart of what democracy is all about. Because, as I always say, our children are our future. And so if we don't listen to you and understand your point of view, then we are letting you and your future down. And I've also learned that you have incredibly good and sensible and well thought out ideas. I was lucky enough to chair the first select committee for the Children's Parliament that we had up in Westminster. And perhaps some of you on this call tonight were in that room, but you gave the water chiefs the grilling of their life, and the ideas and the questions that you put to them were incredibly astute. So I know just how well thought out and thought-provoking this debate that you're about to have is going to be. There's also some news about the Children's Parliament, because as well as meeting online, we have a vision and an ambition for you to one day meet in the chamber of the House of Commons itself. And I have had 2 meetings now, one with the Speaker of the House of Commons himself and another with his project officer, about how we can take that forward. We don't yet have a date, but that is our ambition, and I look forward enormously to welcoming you all and Peter as the chair of the Children's Parliament to Westminster. So I know you're about to have an incredibly important debate all about AI, which is an incredibly important topic. We've had a meeting about this in the House of Lords, but now it's very appropriate to have a debate in the House of Commons, which is where democracy really takes place. So now we have a speaker today. I think we got someone else to admit. We have a speaker, as we always do, for our debates in the Children's Parliament, and he is going to introduce himself. And he actually comes from the constituency where Sir Lindsay Hoyle, the current Speaker of the House of Commons, actually represents. So it's incredibly timely. And would you like to introduce yourself, Mr. Speaker?
Hello, my name's called Bruno. I'm 8 years old and I'm from Secret Heart Primary School.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Speaker. You are going to have to keep all of the all of our speakers today, our MPs from around the country, in order. but hopefully Mr. Spencer is going to help with that as well. So lovely to see you all again, and I look forward to seeing you again, either online for the next Children's Parliament or actually in Parliament for another committee meeting. Enjoy the debate.
Thank you, Anna. That was Anna Firth, who's our MP down here in Southend West. And as she pointed out, I have sitting with me today Bruno, who's come all the way from Bolton in Lancashire down to the Southend area to help me with being the speaker. And he's going to be taking on the second debate today and seeing how he does with that. So wish him good luck with that debate when we get to it. Now, the first person I've got to introduce from the Children's Parliament is Harry Papworth. Harry, are you online? Can I just check you're here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Harry. Now, Harry is the child MP for Lee Anderson MP, who's the Deputy Chairman of the Conservative Party and the MP for Ashfield in Nottinghamshire. And Harry attends Holy Hill School in Selston, Nottingham. And I'm going to ask Harry to introduce our first speaker today. So, Harry, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is my pleasure to welcome our Parliament Baroness Uden. Baroness Uden is a great friend of our Sir David Amos Children's Parliament, having chaired our very first APPG, which means all parties parliamentary group. She is chair of the full Parliament APPG on Metaverse Web3 and treasurer of the APPG for international students. Appointed a Labour working peer by Tony Blair, she was raised in the peerage of Baroness Uden, Bethnal Green in 1988. Baroness Uden, where did your interest in technology and AI come from?
Baroness Uden, are you there? Just wait a minute. I think she's having some trouble getting online, so give her 1 second. Just give her 1 second to come on with. If not, we'll move on. All right, Harry, we're going to move on, and when Baroness Uden's on, we'll ask you to ask your questions, okay? So we'll just move on. So while we're waiting for Baroness Uden to just join the call, she just seemed to get knocked off the call, and she's trying to get back on. While we're waiting for Baroness Uden to get on the call, I'd like to introduce everybody to the Children's Parliament's interim Prime Minister. This is Harry, who's been the interim Prime Minister for a few months now, and helped us with the all parties group meeting, and has been heavily involved in lots of meetings with MPs. And Harry, do you want to just talk to us for a few minutes about your thoughts on what we're going to debate today? And I think you've got some other things to tell us as well. So over to you. Harry, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Harry Champong, the interim Prime Minister of the UK Children's Parliament. Artificial intelligence is the new buzzword on the block, but it has been around for a while. Contrary to what some people think, we all use some form of AI daily, from unlocking our phones using Face ID to checking our social media feeds like Twitter or Instagram, sending emails and using spam filters, using Grammarly to help us compose our essays, using ChatGPT, using Google search to search for answers to questions, using Uber Eats, online banking, etc. This does mean we all use some form of AI every day. Indeed, AI is continuing to define how we work, learn, do politics, conduct business, recruit and onboard employees, design products, and deliver healthcare. In this sense, it can be used as a force for good. However, I am concerned about some reports which state that if we do not halt the pace of AI development, it can spell the end of humanity. In fact, some experts, including the godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, have warned that AI poses a similar risk to human extinction, such as pandemics and nuclear war. From the head of the company behind ChatGPT to the head of Google's AI lab, over 350 people have said that mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority. We must all be concerned. As a result of my concerns, on the 17th of July 2023, Baroness Udin and I submitted a dossier of questions to the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, on AI, and I am waiting eagerly for his answers. I will make the answers available on the Children's Parliament websites when I hear back from the Prime Minister. Thank you.
Harry, thank you so much. That's very exciting that you've been presenting those questions to the Prime Minister. How long ago did you do that?
The 17th of July, so...
Oh, not that long ago then.
No, it wasn't.
Last Monday.
Yeah, last Monday.
Yes, right. So that's good. Well, I look forward to hearing back from him. I'm sure you'll let us all know when you hear back. So,
Yes.
So thank you very much. Now, good news is that Baroness...
You're on mute.
No, mate.
So Baroness Udin, you're online now, I believe. Are you there?
Hello. Good afternoon. Hello, Mr. Lane. Hello, Prime Minister. How are you? Hello, members of the Children's Parliament. It's such an honor to be joining you. My apologies for a little bit of a technical glitch.
No problem. Thank you so much. Now, Harry Papworth, you were asking a question. Could you just, I mean, you've done the introduction to the Baroness. Could you just ask the question at the end of your introduction again, please?
Baroness Udin, where did your interest in technology and AI come from?
Thank you, Harry, very much. First of all, I want to say that it has been one of the most splendid, really special moments that I've been able to work with Children's Parliament members of your committees, Interim Prime Minister, and everyone who's involved in this, and I'm really grateful. The way I suppose I want to say is I missed the debate on AI yesterday because I was hosting another event. There was a very full debate on the matters concerning AI in the House of Lords yesterday, and I can make that available to everyone at a later time. I'm sure it can be circulated to you. First of all, I want to say that I have a son who is now 44 years old. He's autistic and he has learning disabilities. So when he was 4 years old, I read lots of things about children not speaking in good time and going to the doctors all the time. And it occurred to me that we have computers and we have technology. Maybe something could help me. So my interest in technology and its potential to help people learning and assisting people have been with me for more than 40 years. I see the potential for assisting, particularly with learning for people who need extra help. So it has been in my thinking, in my aspiration that technology will be doing things that are better for people. So it's been something I've been interested in a long time. I also want to tell you, I was the very first person to take a mobile phone into the House of Lords because I was one of the youngest members of Parliament, and I had a young baby of 6 months, 7 months old, and I used to want to speak to him. So I used to have this big phone. I don't know whether your parents will remember this big phone. So I used to take my phone, and I often got into difficulties because at that time you couldn't mute a phone. So I had to leave it quite far away from the chamber so it didn't disrupt anyone. So I believe in every way that technology should be good, technology should be beneficial, but we have a responsibility for making sure that is safe for everyone, including all the children that are on this panel today. So yeah, that's my interest, and I have continued with that work in Parliament in different ways, and I can talk about that another time.
Thank you. Very interesting. Can you share your thoughts on technology and safeguarding children?
So thank you so much, Harry. I really appreciate this opportunity to discuss this because I'm also professionally a social worker, and social workers, one of the prime responsibility is safeguarding children's well-being and children's safety. Many of you will know that there is online safety bill going through the House right now, and we have some incredible experts in the House. I don't consider myself. I am so interested in technology being for good as parliamentarians, but also professionals, whether they're teachers, whether they're social workers, whether they're police, to ensure that children who are online, children who are using advanced technology are safe. And that safe, I mean, at the moment we're going through legislation, and there are some wonderful members who are really, really expert and knowledgeable, who understand this, and they are very much more active than I am. But it is incumbent, means that it is our responsibility to ensure that the technology is protects your presence and as well as ours, all of us presence in the web. Many of you play games. Many of you go on Google. Many of you look online, social media, and it's very interesting fact that during the work of the all-party parliamentary group on metaverse and Web3, we were talking to not just children's parliament of your age, but also a little bit older. And one of the interesting facts that we discovered, which many of us thought was absolutely happening anyway, that many children are spending from something like 4 to 8 hours a day on checking what's happening online, being on social media. And it's really important that we have some regulations to make sure children are protected from any harms that bad people, bad actors they're called, that might be out there in the space, in social media, online, that it protects. individuals like you, all your friends, all the panels that are on here. And that's why it's important that we are working with Children's Parliament and your group to ensure that we're on the right track. We're listening to what you are identifying as issues, and then we want to take it to people who are online, who are operating online, to make sure that they understand your views.
And finally, how do you think the AI fits into a safe future for everyone?
AI is here. It's been here for quite some time, and it's advancing at a very significant rate. And as you heard the PM, Interim PM, Harry, talk about some of the dangers that we may face. But I think that we can't just work. AI is not an issue, or AI is not a factor just in UK, in London, in Scotland, in Wales. It's globally. So we need to work collectively on an international basis to ensure that there are safeguarding issues that we all agree with, that there are children's protections, the standards that we all agree with. But the other thing that we also need to make sure that Children's Parliament members, as well as all the children in our country, we learn about this. How do we utilize it for the best way to learn? How do we then safeguard ourselves? And it's really important if you are online, and that's one of the things I really want to echo. If you're online, I have grandchildren, and I always tell them that sometimes you will feel something is not right. Go to your teachers, go to your parents immediately. They might not know a lot more than you do, but they will certainly have some ideas about how to make sure that what you are experiencing, what you're looking at, how you're operating online, they may have better experience. So make sure that you talk about that. I also want to make sure that you, as children, learn about the best use, that you understand technology, that you are more skilled at using technology, because there's going to be a great deal of future employment. So when you finish school, you finish your university and you go for work, I hope that it will be about some of the subjects that will equip you for those new jobs. So not only is it good for you if you use it properly and safely, but then you must make sure that you understand how to protect yourself. And the third thing is also make sure that you keep on learning all the time this new amazing sets of innovation, technology, and tools for better understanding, because it can be very exciting, I believe, but so long as we are on guard all the time, absolutely monitoring what's going on online, and so that it's safe. I want to say to you, this is the final thing I want to say to you in response to your question, Harry. Thank you very much for taking the time to ask me these questions. Please make sure that any images and things that you exchange with your friends, make sure that you discuss it with your family, your teachers, because once it is online, it tends to stay there for a long time. So you have to be careful, and you have to guard it with your, dignity, and you have to guard it to the best ability you can. And always, please take advice. I don't know everything about technology that I'm using all the time. Always something new is coming up. And we have in the Houses of Parliament some incredible expert officers, and I go to them constantly, and I never feel bad about asking questions about things I don't know. I'm the first one to say, please, I'm really sorry. I don't feel bad in asking you. Please help me understand this more so that I'm better at it. I'm more safer using this.
Baroness Uden, thank you so much for taking part in our Children's Parliament. It has been really interesting hearing what you had to say.
Thank you so much, Harry. I really appreciate you. And I want to thank everyone who's taking part. And I'm looking forward to continue to working with you all and receiving you in Parliament. Okay, thank you.
Hey everyone, we're waiting for Peter to connect back onto the call. He's having slight technical difficulties, so please bear with us for 5 minutes.
Sure. Harry, are there any other things that you might want to ask while we're waiting for Peter? How's everyone? How's everyone? Good.
We have a few hands up actually, and I might
go on.
I might
yes,
start.
Why don't we? Shall we?
Okay, so let me add the kids who have their hands up at the moment. So Manny, if you want to ask a question, please go ahead.
I think
Hello,
AI
Manny.
is an enabler. There is nothing to be worried about if it is used ethically and responsibly.
Yes, I think I agree with you very much so. You seem to be someone who understand quite clearly that it can be an enabler, especially like I want to tell you that it has enabled.
Can you hear me now on this? I'm on a different laptop now. Can you hear me now?
Okay, I just want to finish that. Thank you, Peter.
We're just trying to sort out the one we were on, but for the moment,
okay. I'm just going
I'll
to
speak
finish
to you from
this
this laptop. I've lost my parliamentary background, unfortunately, which is a bit disturbing, but there you go. Hopefully we'll get the other one working in a moment.
Shall I just quickly
So now we're
finish
going to enter
this?
our first debate, and please enjoy the debate. This is where you get a chance to contribute. Not all of you, of course, but and hopefully quite a few of you.
Peter, we had the Baroness answering a question.
Baroness Uden, had you finished? I think you had, hadn't you?
Sorry. Yeah. Well, I think Manny asked me a question while we were trying to get you on.
I think you're muted, or I can't hear you.
No, I'm not muted. I'm okay. Somebody muted me. I don't know.
we can hear you, Baroness.
Okay. So all I was going to say is that Manny seems to be someone who's already considered these issues, and I think it's really important that every person who's using on the internet now have considered those matters of personal safety and must always ask advice. I think it is for good. I think, and it's an enabler. You're right, Manny. But we have to take responsibility.
My name's Dylan.
Sorry, you are?
My name's Dylan.
Hi, Dylan. Sorry, it said on the screen that it's Manny. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you for.
I'm using my mom's laptop.
Okay, hi, Mom. So you are more than welcome to ask me a question on my email, which is udin@parliament.uk. You can get your mom's permission to email me, and I'll be very happy to answer any questions. Okay. I'll put it on the chat.
This one. Hi, thank you. Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, you can hear me now. I'm just going through a different laptop while we're trying to figure out why I'm not being heard on the one we're meant to be on. But thank you very much, Baroness Uden, for everything there today. Right, we're going to enter our first debate now, and remember you can actually comment on the debate on the text. If you're asked to take part, please unmute yourself and feel free to take part. And the first debate that we're entering today is about how can AI be best used for the good of mankind, and what are the main dangers it poses. Now, we don't need to stick to that topic. I suspect we're going to be flashing through lots of different topics. But I have asked Julie to speak, Julie Malik. Julie, are you online with us?
Hello, Mr. Speaker.
Hello, Julie.
Hello.
Would you like to make your point? I think that'll lead into a nice start to our debate.
Yes, thank you. For many, AI could mean a brighter future. But if we think one step ahead, what about the generation we here belong to? How will it affect us students and our teachers? Well, when I say AI will change our future, this is already the wrong tense. AI is already changing our lives.
Yeah.
Nowadays, there are systems, apps, and chatbots to write our essays and solve our maths problems. In the end, the student will get a good grade. But then what's the point of even going to school with a physical human teacher? Now you might say we students learn, right? But what should we learn in institutions like schools and universities? AI has been fed with all of humanity's knowledge. Do we then even need to learn? All the knowledge is already there. And what will happen to our teachers? They will have to teach us knowledge, and most likely they will be the mentors of our generation. The jobs of teachers and their purpose will change. Mr. Speaker, since AI in education is happening, what do we students really need to learn, and what role do teachers play in that? Thank you.
Thank you. Well spoken, and thank you for the question. So, can I ask Clark from St. Pierre's School to answer that question?
Thank you, my honourable friend. Well, I think one of the main aspects of what we need to learn is how to ask the correct questions. AI is programmed to give any information related to the question asked. So if you ask the wrong question, you could get answers that are dangerous, biased, or fake. Teachers can help you to identify these messages, this information that is fake, and also to learn how to write the correct questions.
Thank you, Clark. I know you have a good personal interest in AI, so thank you for your comments. And perhaps sticking on the subject of teaching and AI, Sarah, I think it is, who's 8 years old from Marshgate Primary.
Hello, Speaker.
Hello, Sarah. Is it Sarah?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Not really. Some classes are not predictable and there can be bully or naughty behavior. Humans can handle these by understanding emotions and making jokes, but AI might not be as good at that.
Okay, that's good. So you like your teachers making jokes, do you?
Yeah.
That's something that, right, so that's nice. You like that personality side of it, don't you? Very good. Zaina, from who's 7 years old, from St. Paul's Catholic Primary School in Cheshunt. Hello, Zaina, are you there? Have you unmuted?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to speak. I feel very honoured to be part of this parliament and to represent my school. Well, because AI has no emotions, it will not be a better teacher than a human. My Year 2 teacher cried twice on our last day with her last week. That's because she is human and will miss us. It means she truly loves us and was teaching us with love, and because she truly enjoyed doing it. AI will only be teaching us because it was programmed to do so. We will just be numbers to it, and it will not miss us because it has no attachment to us. I would like a human teacher because I know they care about my achievement and my progress, but I will also want them to use AI to make learning more fun and easier if possible.
Thank you, thank you. Ariane from Haberdasher School, you've been you've had your hand up. What would you like to say?
Mr. Speaker, I agree with my honourable friend, because AI doesn't have empathy, creativity, and general and emotional intelligence. It wouldn't work as well, and you wouldn't feel like the person cared. That's all I have to say.
No, that's fine, of course. Yes, all of course, good points. Eva, who's 11 years old, from Cramlington Learning Village. You with us, Eva?
Hello, Mr. Speaker.
Hello, Eva.
I believe that AI should never replace the role of a jury in court, because the way AI currently is, it lacks the ability to listen to other viewpoints as well as its own and reason with it and then come up with a conclusion, which I think is something that's definitely needed in a jury, and that's part of something that only human intelligence has at the moment.
Yeah, good point. I'm sure we'd all agree with that. That emotional side of a jury is very, very important. Now, can you, people who are on the call, try and put things into the chat, because we're monitoring the chat to see who's got opinions that they might like to share online. So as well as putting your hands up in the Teams environment, please don't be afraid to put things in the chat, because we do watch the chat to see if there's anyone who should be talking. And there's also somebody called Nyla, and I don't have details of where you're from, Nyla, but Nyla, are you there? Hello, Nyla, that must be you, right?
Hello, Mr. Speaker. I had a bit of trouble on my laptop and it wouldn't let me log onto my account, so I had to use my school account, and I can't access the chat and like that.
Oh, okay, that's a shame. But anyway, didn't you have something to say?
Yes. I think that AI isn't going to be very good at teaching, because every student is very different and they have maybe different needs, and there are some teachers who have empathy and like care for them, but AI is kind of built to be a certain way, so it won't really show the emotion that a teacher needs for their students.
There's a lot of, thank you, yes, there's a lot of talk about that. You seem quite understandably all to have strong opinions on teaching and AI. Does anybody have another angle they'd like to put here? Alex from Westcliff, what have you got to say?
Hi. So what I was going to talk about is when we were saying about how teachers couldn't have, if an AI was teaching, it wouldn't have the same emotion as a teacher would have with the class. And what I wanted to bring up was actually there was a study made by an AI company called AI21 Labs, which was called Human or Not, where players talk to an AI or a human for 2 minutes. And many players found it really hard to differentiate between AI behavior and human behavior, which I think was really interesting, because that shows how powerful AI is with imitating how humans react to certain situations and how easy it is to imitate our behavior.
Very good, good points, thank you. And Hugo, you on the call? Hugo from Leon C?
Yes, hello.
Hello, Hugo. You wanted to make a point in general, didn't you, about this?
Yes, I did. Let me just get my script.
Now, Hugo was part of our all parties group, weren't you, Hugo?
Yeah.
Along with Harry. So go ahead.
Okay, so my question was, what are the main dangers posed by artificial intelligence? So I said that people will lose jobs, which can easily be replaced by robots or AI, making people not able to financially support themselves, resulting in the possible increase of homelessness and starvation around the world. People could also get addicted to the metaverse, a virtual reality space in which users can interact with a computer-generated environment and other users. They could end up getting addicted and spending more time on it than the actual world, which could affect their mental health. The metaverse may also encourage people to pay for extra benefits in the experience, also impacting on poverty.
Thank you. Is it Hawa, who's from King Edward's in Handsworth?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to talk about how AI is terrible at understanding human emotions, because as us humans, we react, as as a member of Westfield said, our emotions are unpredictable. You can't tell how they will react to something. AI can also damage us because they can steal human jobs and also can be used to start nuclear wars in some ways. But it can also help us. It depends if it's used in the right or wrong way. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Very well put indeed. Thank you. And Xander from Raynham Primary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to say about how AI lacks the actual emotions of and cannot understand what people are actually doing. As other people have said, it lacks the social interaction and other mental needs needed to understand somebody else or to make sure that they are okay with feelings. This can really affect us as it can shape our lives, and without a good mental being, we won't be who we are today. Thank you.
Thank you. Very well put. Nicely read as well. That was really good. Thank you. And let's hear from Liliana, who's 11-year-old from St Michael's.
Hello. I think.
We can hear you. Go ahead,
linking
Liliana.
Linking back to a point from a while ago made by Eva, personally, I think an AI judge would be better because it would consider both sides of the argument a little more than maybe a human judge. Because if we were in court for some reason and we were unlucky and the human judge was biased and had a side, it would be quite unfair. But AI probably wouldn't have a side. So
good point. And I do like to. Sorry, had you finished, Liliana?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I like the way in which Liliana is responding to Eva's previous point. That's really nice that people are listening to each other and politely debating the points. They've obviously got a difference of opinion, but put it extremely politely. So well done, both of you. So Daisy from St Columbus in Hertfordshire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to say to Liliana that yes, that's true, but if we had an AI judge, then most likely the AI can't really consider like the emotions or what could have happened rather than just using the straight facts. So I think having like two human judges which won't talk to each other so they can consider the argument more.
It's interesting, this whole concept of the judging in the court system and AI is obviously creating some interest amongst all of you. So it's interesting to hear these opinions. Both sides, both that it should be AI and it should not be AI. Harrison from Bishop Aldham's. Harrison, are you there? from Dorset, Harrison from Dorset. We're only using the names that you've got on the screen, so you may be on the wrong. Is that you, Harrison? Are you muted because you can't hear you? Harrison, I think you're muted. Can you say something, see if we can hear you? Oh, that's a shame, Harrison. I'm sure you've got something interesting to say, but we're not hearing you. So how about Leo from St. Joseph's, in a place I know well, Bingley. St. Joseph's in Bingley. Leo?
Okay.
AI will never be a good teacher because it would never experience happiness or say comments of the good work, because it would never experience any feelings.
Right, so that's interesting, isn't it? I think that point's being made by a few people about the teachers and the importance of feelings. And of course, you all know teachers very well, and it seems to be coming across quite strongly. So thank you very much for that. And Max from Radnor House School.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think AI can help us solve the big problems that humanity is facing today and could even destroy us. For example, climate change is a current affair that we are struggling with, and there are so many other ways AI can help us. For example, cures for cancer and diabetes would be brilliant, as 1 in 2 people in our lives get cancer. And it could help us with the current affair of we're losing all our antibiotics, and AI could possibly help us create a new antibiotics before they run out and we die of infections. I also, linking back to what one of my honourable gentlemen have said, I believe that AI does have no empathy, and another way of proving this is care homes, Mr. Speaker. If you're a lady or a man who is struggling, who has some sort of extra additional need when it comes down to these things, AI might not be able to empathise and sense with that, and therefore that could lead to all sorts of different problems with AI.
Well, thank you. Can I say very well put, very enthusiastically put. I could hear the enthusiasm in your voice there, Max. Excellent. Well, we're going to stop the first debate there. We're going to move into the second debate in about 10-15 minutes. But we're now going to have our first vote. So everyone gets a chance now to vote for a couple of things to do with what are the main advantages and disadvantages of AI. And so coming up in the chat now, you should get a vote. You can vote for one advantage, and then you can vote for one disadvantage. And having heard everything that everybody said, please take a minute to vote which one you think is the most important advantage and which one you think is the most important disadvantage. I can see the advantages now in front of me. AI eliminates errors, it reduces risks to humans. Some of you have mentioned that in medicine and things. It never gets tired and it's always available. It makes unbiased, fair decisions, and that came up a lot when you were talking about the court system. And it makes faster decisions. I remember a couple of people talking about that also. So those are the main ones. And so hopefully you voted on that. And now on the screen, you should see the disadvantages. It can't be creative. But that's been mentioned by almost all of you, particularly in relation to teaching. It takes jobs from humans. It has no sense of right and wrong, no ethics. It cannot be properly controlled, and it lacks emotions and people skills, which is the main disadvantage. And these results are published in the national press and on television. So your thoughts on this as the Children's Parliament are very important. This is the first of 2 of our votes. Okay, so have you had your chance to vote? Hopefully everybody has. Okay, some people are shaking their heads, so I'm going to leave it on the screen for a few more moments. Okay, I'm seeing some results on the screen. I don't know if you're seeing those results also. This is new. Thank you, TJAS and your team. We've got instant results here, and the leading disadvantage seems to be lax emotional people skills, with almost 40% of you voting for that one. So 4 in every 10 of you. And the least worrying thing seems to be they can't be creative. So it's very interesting, but of course those votes will all be collected in, and when we send you this the report, you'll see exactly how that turned out. But that's how it's running at the moment. I don't know if you can see the same as I can see on the screen, but that's wonderful. Thank you to that tech team for that. And now, right, so now I'm going to hand over to Bruno, who's going to take the next bit of the debate, and so work with him, please. He's very new to this, but he's very excited to do it. Only 8 years old, so I'm wishing him luck in taking over here. And Bruno, can I hand over to you?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this exciting opportunity to run a debate in the Children's Parliament. Firstly, I would like to introduce Katie from St. Pierre School, who will present our expert guest. Over to you, Katie.
Katie from St. Pierre, you there?
Yes, hello, Mr. Speaker. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our AI expert, Professor Martin De Hever. He is CEO of SafeWise AI, which empowers organisations to harness the power of AI while adhering to necessary regulations and legal frameworks. But more than that, Professor De Hever has some really interesting views on AI and how it should be handled. Professor De Hever, welcome to the Children's Parliament, and thank you so much for being with us. Please, could you give your perspective on AI?
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today. I just wanted to address a few points that some of you have made. So I'll start off with Harry, who spoke at the start, and he made a really very good point that AI tools have actually been, or AI-like tools have really been with us for a long time. So they've been out there for quite a while. Then also, as Julie said, what do students actually need to learn in the age of super intelligent AI? So I'll try and address that point. I'll also try and address the point that Liliana made very well, that an AI judge might indeed be fairer than a human. And then I think lastly, as Max was just saying, that the breakthroughs that might actually be enabled by AI as well. So if that's okay with you, could I go through and address those points, because that covers the area really well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is that yes, we have had automation tools with us for quite a long time. I think what's different now is that they have the ability to, I think, potentially surpass human understanding of their knowledge, and this is a real challenge. So we may have a tool. If any of you have used ChatGPT, I found that quite an astounding breakthrough. But I'm not sure we're necessarily that well equipped to really be able to question the nature of the answers. I think if you're an expert in a particular area, you can consider what you're being told and critique it based on your knowledge. But I think many people will be using these tools to answer questions for which they don't have any background knowledge or experience. And I think that's where the danger comes, when we place our trust in these systems without them necessarily being properly tested, evaluated, and assured. I think so. There is a real issue there, and a challenge, but also an opportunity of how we can actually learn to trust the answers we get from super intelligent AI. So I think that's a relatively new example. So unlike the tools of the past, that's what we're being faced with now. Second point, as Julie said earlier, is how do we, as a student, what do we need to learn? What are our skills, and what do we actually need in the age of super intelligent AI? So, as students, what do you need from your school? What do you need from your university? What kind of schools
tell you immoral things?
Hi. Hello, Katie. Sorry.
Go ahead, Professor. Go ahead, Professor. Someone I think just forgot to mute.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you so much. So the question is, what do students need to learn? And it's something that we're actually doing. I'm actually undertaking some research at the moment, looking at our leading universities, both here and in a number of overseas territories, really to see what people think the opportunities are from, particularly around large language models, but AI generally. How will that change taught education, and how will it change research? What are we actually going to do with these tools, and how it's going to make things better? So there are some risks, but I think also some great opportunities too. And I think it's really true, equally true for primary school and other school students to actually think about what they need from their educators in this age of super intelligent AI. So we don't have an answer yet, but we're undertaking research at the moment to try and work that out. So just picking up on Liliana's point about the AI judge, I think you're right that I think a super intelligent AI could perhaps be taught or be trained properly not to have fundamental bias within the work that it does. But I think the challenge that we face as humans is being able to actually understand why a decision has been made. I think many of these systems, particularly those that are based on what's called a neural network, which is something that's inspired by how the brain works, but not quite the same. We don't actually really know what's going on inside. There's what they call hidden layers, and we may not necessarily know why a decision has been made. And it's distinctly possible that a super intelligent AI judge, it may not be able to necessarily readily explain why a particular decision has been made for the humans that are subject to its judgment, to be able to determine whether it's biased and truthful and correct. So I think we replace the problem of human bias with potentially the problem of a complex decision which we may not necessarily understand. I think that's that one. And I think lastly, and actually this is the one that I think is for me the most important. As Max was saying, we could use AI to deal with things like antibiotic resistance and things like that. At Orbit, we work with many technology innovators that are working on quantum computing, machine learning, robotics, drug discovery, regenerative medicine, and all of these areas are fundamentally affected by the ability of AI-like tools to help them to accelerate the rate that they make breakthroughs. So the question I would leave you all with in the Children's Parliament, and it really is a question for you, is what is the future going to look like when many of human problems have been resolved, or we're on our way to resolving those problems? What challenges will you face? What education do you need to address those challenges, and what are you going to bring to the party? So imagine a future where we have super intelligent AI, or we have limitless energy, maybe from fusion power, maybe from other areas. Maybe we've addressed climate change, maybe we haven't, but we may have mitigated it in some way. What does that world look like, and what role are you going to play in it? Because there's no doubt that these technologies will transform many things. There are risks, for sure there are risks, and we need to be mindful of that. But I think for me personally, the opportunities greatly outweigh them, but we just have to use these tools properly because they are astoundingly powerful. I think perhaps more powerful than a tool that any human has ever had in their hands. And with that, I open the floor to questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Well done.
Thank you, Professor. DeHeven and Katie. Very interesting. Our next debate covers how can AI be best used for good of mankind and what are the main dangers it poses. Stefan from Lancaster. Anything to say?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for letting me speak. I believe the main dangers posed by artificial intelligence is how AI can currently now replicate voices almost perfectly. Already, people have made AI that that are able to replicate famous people's voices, but most of these being for jokes and no malicious intent. Yet, picture this, you're watching the news thinking you're safe in your house, but then the news abrupts and then starts broadcasting a warning for a missile strike, or worse, a fake voice of the Prime Minister declaring war. Pretty scary.
Thank you. Next, Max Randolph, House School, who created his point using AI.
Thank you so much. So I believe that, as I said, there are many pros and cons. However, there are so many ways. Like, have you seen the things about deep faking with Martin Lewis, the financial advisor? It is such a dangerous tool, and we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. So, Mr. Speaker, I ask you, what are we going to do? And are we going to police these websites and these places that are allowing these deep faking and programs and videos on social media of these deep fakes, which can destroy people's lives, and they look exactly like we're talking now, but it's just an AI program thing of someone else speaking that's fake. So what are we going to do about this? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next is Alexandra from London.
Alexandra from London. Isha from Watford.
Okay. From London soon. Krisha from Watford.
We didn't hear from Alexandra. So Krisha from Watford, is she there?
Clearly, AI is not behaving itself and giving us all good internet today.
Oh, that's a shame. Okay. So.
Okay, then Jack. Kingswood School
in Bath.
Hello. Some of the main dangers posed by artificial intelligence are the loss of jobs in places like factories and offices, loss of individuality in certain sectors as AI automates the real processes to maximize efficiency, frequency of false information that feels and behaves in a real way but is fake, loss of human emotional recognition, fear, and who controls it. Imagine if Adolf Hitler had AI. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to check again. It's Alexandra from London here.
Oh, okay. We're just hearing that Alexandra doesn't want to actually be part, but she's made some good comments on the chat. So.
Okay, then we're going to do Arian from Haberdasher's School.
Mr. Speaker, if we could use AI to create new medicines or carry out research or help in the medical field alongside doctors so that patients don't have to wait for so long for their appointments. It would help shorten the waiting lists. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Andisha from Broome Valley School.
Hi, Mr. Speaker, I think that Mr. Speaker, I think that AI can be good for humankind, and also at the same time it can cause a lot of damage, as it can at the same time be helpful for us, but also sometimes it can learn from humans, so it could learn very ungrateful behavior, and so it could go against us. Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you. Next is Jonah from West Sussex.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I believe that AI poses a threat to us, as, say, for instance, Vladimir Putin had decided that he wanted to attack us. I think he would probably use AI to launch maybe nuclear rockets over here. So in a way, AI poses a threat to us. But also, we can use AI to stop that, and I believe AI, in a way, is its own enemy. Thank you.
Okay, next is Theo Kelly.
I would like to share my point. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to share my point. So I believe that, like many other people have said, if armies or maybe people like, well, companies like NASA, SpaceX got AI, they could use it to use launch codes. And if one tiny bit of the code was wrong, it could make mass destruction and kill millions of people, along with destroying everywhere in probably the vicinity of 1 mile in every direction.
Very interesting. Thank you. Next is Katie from St. Pierre.
I think we should have AI to help us with future things, because if we have AI to help us with future things, then things that we can't use right now, AI could make us use them, which will make our life be more better and more easier. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. So next is Alexander from London.
Hello, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to share my point about how AI may make us forget some useful skills we learned throughout the centuries. For example, planting, baking, because now AI, and for example, when we vacuum or mow our lawns, now we have AI that may do that for us, and that may make us forget these skills and make AI replace all this. That's it.
Thank you. Made a really good point. Next is Lola from St. Bernard's School.
Mr. Speaker, how can human beings trust an AI robot with important information? How can this be, Mr. Speaker? Also, how do robots know how the history behind the making of medication? And what will happen if we trust an AI to make medication about our human beings nowadays?
Thank you. Next is Nigel Miguel.
Miguel
Sorry for interrupting, Mr. Speaker, but my chat is not working, so.
Is that Miguel?
Because we can hear him.
We can hear you. Miguel?
Are you talking?
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I think that AI will destroy humanity, as the World Economic Forum has estimated that AI will replace some 85 million jobs by 2025. AI is everywhere. Now, finance and manufacturing industries are heavily reliant on the use of artificial intelligence. In the future, I believe that AI will leave many people jobless, and the jobs that are so-called untouched by AI will include it heavily behind the scenes. I think AI will continue being more and more relied on, leaving the future generations without some of the skills we have now, like critical thinking, creativity, and human intuition. However, I think that in some scenarios, artificial intelligence can be useful. For instance, in healthcare, through the use of learning models to search medical data and uncover new symptoms to help or improve health outcomes and patient experiences. But I think the true question is, will AI hurt us more or help us more? Though in conclusion, I believe that the use of AI is only really good in some cases, and I am worried about the next developments of AI.
Good, excellent.
We're going to vote on that soon. Next, thank you for sharing your point. Next is Ibrahim from David Livingstone Academy.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to raise my opinions on AI. First of all, I would like to give the positives of how AI can be used for mankind. It can help people with disabilities. Voice-assisted AI is one of the major breakthroughs, especially for those who are visually impaired. It helps them communicate with others using smart devices such as Seeking AI. Another AI used all over the world is Alexa. Alexa is useful for elders as they may not be comfortable to use apps through smartphones, and Alexa can make their tasks easy. The negative things about AI. On the other hand, the negative effects of AI have prompted concerns about possible long-term effects on the younger generation brains. It will make people lazy, and people fear AI will take over humanity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you for sharing your point. Next is going to be Noah from Queen Emma Primary.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put my hand up.
No problem. Jonah. Next, can I have Jonah from West Sussex?
So I would just like to thank all the honourable people today. And another point that I'd like to make is, if AI was to destroy humanity, would humans then use it, any surviving humans then use it to rebuild a world that we can live in again? And maybe just from using AI against us to using it with us. So I'd just like to raise that point, Mr. Speaker.
That's a really good point.
Very thoughtful.
Baroness Uden, would you like to say something?
Baroness Uden, I think you might be muted, but we'd love to hear what your thoughts on what's been said so far. I think you're muted, Baroness Uden.
You're muted.
You're still muted, Baroness.
It has a mute button there. So you...
We're still trying to see this at tech. No, we can't unmute you from here. Is this another one? Rufus from Chatham.
Okay,
Rufus.
sorry, but next is
That's a
Rufus Chatton.
Going to talk about kind of the use of AI for malicious intent, because sometimes on TikTok
Rufus, you were very faint, but I think you finished. Thank you.
I got muted by someone. I wasn't finished. So I was gonna say I can see these deep fakes on TikTok, and it's so they'll use politicians, like videos of politicians, and they can edit it to make them hear what they want. So like they can edit the politician to say anything, and this can be used in the future to cause panic because you won't know if something's true or if it's false.
Thank you for making your point. Next is Corey from
Newgate
School.
Camera. Mr. Speaker, I find it worrying because AI does not have the human touch of avoiding errors. Terrible errors could be made and affecting human beings' health and safety. It is concerning that AI could become more powerful than humans. What does this mean for us children as we enter adulthood?
Really good. Next is Shan Dulay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Sean Dule and I'm 11 years old. And accompanying me is my younger brother, Roshan, and we both attend Highswood Tower School. I think that AI should be mainly used for medical and military purposes, although there would be many exceptions, including social media. AI would also be very difficult to manage criminals that are being released on a license from prison, where probation and police work together. So what is a license? It is when you're serving half your sentence in the community while police and probation are doing face-to-face checks. It would be very hard for AI to do this. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your point. Next is...
We should embrace AI. AI has a lot of benefits. It will help us evolve. There was a time people were scared computers will take our jobs. People are also worried about AI doing the same. Let's embrace change and welcome AI. Let's use it responsibly and ethically.
Excellent.
Thank you. Next is Hasina Yunus.
Hasina Yunus.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
Yes, there's been a bit of
We can hear you.
you know, when I've logged on, it wouldn't let me log on to my account, so I have to use my mum's. My actual name is Mohammed Ansar.
Oh, Mohammed, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to share my opinion on AI and how it would affect us, because the inventor of AI, Geoffrey Hinton, he says that he has regretted his work and is worried that AI technology will flood the internet with misinformation, and also leading back to education-wise, if many pupils are going onto the internet and getting the information off there, if there's misinformation on there, it can also affect their later it could also affect their later life, and the future generations, their education will start to deteriorate. This could also lead to people getting in poverty because they're getting their information from the internet, and if the information is wrong, and then they're going to be failing all of the exams, so they'll keep relying on the internet, not knowing they're failing the exams, and they will start to suffer in later life. This leads to poverty because then they will not have proper jobs, not being able to make money. This could also allow us to get in further invasions, because there'll be lots of poverty. So the enemy countries will see this as an opportunity to invade.
Thank you. So can we just ask not for people not to play with the spotlight feature, please, because it's not helping our tech people. Because the people who want to speak need to be shown. So please don't meddle with the spotlight feature.
You're muted. Sorry, I think you're muted.
Yeah. Are you there?
Oh. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You're muted. AI in the wrong hands can be very dangerous. Like my honourable friend said, it can be a force for good and evil. We need to work hard to safeguard its use as a matter of absolute importance. Thank you.
Thank you for these really good points. Now, I will ask our final vote question, which is simply, will AI help or destroy humanity? Just vote in the chat for help or destroy.
So we're looking for you to vote now on the final vote for the Parliament. The big question: will AI, in your opinion, help or destroy humanity? So please make that simple vote. What do you think overall? Vote on the vote. What do you want to destroy? I think our speaker is telling everybody's vote here. Hold on. We're just giving you a minute to make your votes. Only about half of you have voted so far, but it's very, very even. So make your vote. 48% to 53% at the moment in favour of destroy. Okay, well, hopefully you've had a chance to vote. Get your vote in, which is very important. And I would personally like to thank our new speaker. I think for 8 years old, did a marvellous job. So thank you so much for all your works today, Bruno. It's been really good working with you, and I think you did a great job in your first Parliament. So thank you. Thank you also to everybody. We've got some applause going on there. Thank you, Julie, from Latimer. Thank you very much. Appreciated your applause there. But all of you make such good points. I think everyone would agree. And you know, it's a pity we couldn't hear from Baroness Udin at the end there, but she couldn't get her mic going. But I would have also like to personally thank both our speakers, Baroness Udin and Professor Martin de Hiva, who I thought were very interesting and great. Had a great input to make into the topics. I'd like to thank all of you. I know all of you didn't get to say something, but we are monitoring your chats, and the report will eventually show a lot of the things you said in the chats. And this is all very important, goes in the newspapers, and is very much part of the Children's Parliament. So thank you to everybody. Harry, the Prime Minister, did you have anything to say before we close?
Well, I'd just like to thank everyone for taking part. The children are the future. Once all the grown-ups of today are gone, we are the grown-ups of tomorrow. So we have to make our vote, our voice be heard now. I think the Children's Parliament is a very it's a very good way of doing this. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, that's excellent points, Harry. I think, you know, this is what it's all about, isn't it? It's your future, your world, and whether AI exists in it is a decision you need to be part of, because it's going to be something which all of you are going to live through, and the older generation will not have to. So that's what the Children's Parliament is all about. Thank you to all of you. Thank you particularly to our guest speakers. Thank you again to Bruno, who's assisted me here today. Thank you to everyone who's commented and those who haven't for being on the call, and hopefully you'll be involved next time that the Children's Parliament's in session. But goodbye to everybody, and thanks to everybody. Well done. Excellent debate. Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Bye.